Blimey, my friends. Elon Musk, that cheeky billionaire with a Twitter trigger finger, has gone and dropped another geopolitical bombshell. On March 9th, 2025, he declared that Uncle Sam should pack his bags and skedaddle from NATO, saying it doesn't make sense for America to pay for the defence of Europe. Well, knock me down with a feather. It's not like we've had 76 years of relative peace in Europe or anything, have we? But hold your horses. There's more to this dog's dinner. Turns out there's a right dodgy bit of business with those fancy F-35 fighter jets the Yanks flogged to their European chums. Word on the street is there's a kill switch that could let Trump disable these flying marvels faster than you can say covfefe. Imagine that. 1 minute you're cruising at Mach 2, the next you're a very expensive paperweight. Talk about a mug's game. Now, let's not forget why NATO exists in the first place, shall we? It's been keeping the peace since 1949, when the world was still picking up the pieces after that nasty business with Hitler. The whole idea is that an attack on one is an attack on all, sort of like a pub brawl, where everyone's got each other's back. It's called Article 5, and it's only been invoked once, after those terrorist muppets attacked the Twin Towers on September 11th. Of course, there's the small matter of cash. NATO members are supposed to be spending 2% of their GDP on defence, but only about 2/3 of them are actually coughing up. The Americans are splashing out 3.3%, which has got Trump's knickers in a twist. He's been banging on about it for ages, calling NATO obsolete and threatening to pull out faster than a vicar at a strip club. But here's the rub. If the Yanks do a runner, it's not just Europe that will be in a pickle. The whole world could go topsy-turvy faster than you can say geopolitical instability. Rose Gottemuller, former NATO Deputy Secretary General, called Musk's idea dangerous and misguided. Bit of an understatement, that. It's like saying the Titanic had a bit of a leak. And let's not forget about our old mate Putin, who'd be grinning like a Cheshire cat if NATO crumbled. With Russia still causing trouble in Ukraine and eyeing up other bits of Eastern Europe like a fox in a henhouse, a weakened NATO would be music to his ears. It's no wonder the Baltic states are more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Speaking of Ukraine, NATO's just agreed to a whopping 40 billion quid military aid package to help them fend off the Russians. That's a lot of bang for your buck, and it shows that NATO's still got some teeth. But if the US pulls out, that leaves a hole bigger than the one in Trump's tax returns. Now, Musk isn't just some random bloke spouting nonsense down the pub. He's got Trump's ear, and when he talks, people listen. But here's the kicker. The Yanks can't just up and leave NATO without a buy your leave. The National Defense Authorization Act means they'd need 2/3 of the Senate to agree, which is about as likely as finding a snowball in the Sahara. And let's not forget about China, shall we? They're watching this NATO kerfuffle like a hawk, ready to swoop in and expand their influence if the West starts squabbling. It's like a game of Risk, but with real-world consequences. So, what's the upshot of all this? Well, my friends, if NATO goes belly up, European countries would have to start spending more on defence than a footballer on a night out in Vegas. We're talking about countries that are already tight as sore than a duck's bum when it comes to budgets. It'd be like asking your gran to start lifting weights. Possible, but not pretty. And it's not just about the money. NATO's got more military bases in Europe than you can shake a stick at. These aren't just for show. They're strategic assets that help keep the peace and respond to crises faster than you can say international incident. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ron, you handsome devil, what's the point of NATO in this day and age? Well, let me tell you, it's not just about keeping an eye on Russia. It's about having a united front against all sorts of threats. Terrorism, cyber attacks, and even pandemics. It's like having a really big, well-armed neighbourhood watch. But here's the real question. If NATO's been keeping the peace for over 70 years, why mess with a good thing? It's like trying to fix a watch that's never lost a second. Sure, it might need a bit of polish now and then, but you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. So, next time you hear someone like Musk suggesting we should ditch NATO, remember this. In a world that's about as stable as a three-legged chair, maybe it's not such a bad idea to have a few mates watching your back. After all, you never know when you might need to call in a favour. I'm DiParmejan, and this is News Cats. Stay classy and remember, keep calm and carry on.